Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is November the 30th. Tons of games on the board for today. We're going to jump right into it as we always do. As far as yesterday goes, I didn't send out anything official to the members. Kind of wonky day in the NBA, man. I did have a little bit of money on Detroit. I'm sorry, on Miami. They didn't win, didn't cover. Miami just Detroit kind of came in there and kind of owned them from the tip. Ended up winning the first quarter, first half, and full game. So that was the only thing that I really, really liked a lot yesterday. Dante DiVincenzo under his 3.5 assists yesterday. He looks like Magic Johnson. I think he had I don't know if it was a career high, but it was definitely a season high, 8 assists. He cleared the line. I talked about the under 3.5 assists. He had like 5 at halftime, first time all season. So Saturdays are sometimes better just to kind of stay away. Sundays, I feel like as well. But I got a couple plays that I do want to share for today. Hopefully you guys were able to find a way, some ways to make some money yesterday. What's up, AOD? Appreciate you for tapping in. As always, good morning, Stephen. And he said Detroit money line as well. Them Hornets, though. Yeah, Hornets got the job done last night. Definitely got the job done last night. So we're going to jump into it for today. Pretty quick show, in my opinion. I think I'm going to try to keep it pretty quick show. Let's go. So first up, we'll start with Jaxon, AI Sports Betting Tool. Link is in the description if you guys are interested in checking Jaxon out. The player props from yesterday that Jaxon were 1-1. So the first one was on, let's see if I can remember. Probably can't. First one was on Norman Powell over his 18.5 points, and he cleared the line pretty easily. I think he finished with 26, 28. The second one was on Khalil Ware over his 10.5 boards. He ended up coming off the bench and didn't play well at all. Didn't grab the boards either. He was over 10.5, which is what Jaxon liked. He finished with just 7. So 1-1 day for Jaxon yesterday. As far as player props for today, Jaxon likes, I think it's some pretty good ones. Let's see. Amin Thompson over his 6.5 rebounds today against the Utah Jazz. It says that he's been on a tear recently, hitting the over in 5 of his last 5 games, averaging 9.4 rebounds during that stretch. He's maintained an 80% hit rate over his last 10 games as well, averaging 7.5 rebounds. And then Road Warrior. So he set the over in 89% of his road games, averaging 8.5 rebounds so far this season as well. We know that the Rockets are the best rebounding team in the league, ranking number 1 in total rebound percentage, number 1 in offensive rebound percentage, against the Jazz, who rank 16th in defense versus position against the combo position for rebounds. It's a neutral matchup for him, so it should be he should be able to easily exploit this matchup. And then what else does it say? He's averaging 2.5 offensive rebounds per game as well. So that's the first look. The second one is on SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, over his 42.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So this one says elite season production. So SGA is averaging 44 points, rebounds, and assists this season, which is 1.85 points above this line. He ranks number 1 amongst point guards in total points, 2nd in points per game. Recent performance, he's over in 8 of his last 10, averaging 44.7 points, rebounds, and assists during that stretch. Over his last 5, he's averaged 46.8 points, rebounds, and assists, showing his production is trending upwards. And then there's defense versus position, which the Blazers are 14th in defense versus position against the point position for points, rebounds, and assists, which is neutral. Blazers overall defense ranks 22nd in defensive rating, 23rd in points allowed per 100 possessions. This overall defensive weakness combined with SGA's elite usage and efficiency suggests that he should easily exceed his average production. And then you got the road performances. He's averaging 43.7 points, rebounds, and assists, hitting over 50% of his road games so far. So the look on SGA over his 42.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and the other one is on Amin Thompson of the Houston Rockets over his 6.5 boards for today. Those are the 2 looks for Jaxon. Let's jump into the games. I got a couple plays that I want to share today. So first up, we'll go to this first game. Houston will be in Utah today. This is a 3 o'clock start time game. There's also a rematch tomorrow that'll also be in Utah. So for me, it's really difficult because I don't know which game Houston's going to lock in for. Now, Houston should win this game. They should cover the spread. They are better than the Utah Jazz. The Jazz have been good at home. We know. But Kevin Durant's off the injury report. I did see that Keontae George is listed as questionable for this game. So Houston has a few days of rest. Coming off back-to-back wins, they beat the Golden State Warriors. They beat the Phoenix Suns. And now they get an easy matchup against the Utah Jazz. Like I said, it is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got Utah tomorrow, third straight road game. They played in 4 straight unders. This total has come plummeting down from 238 all the way down to 232.5 as I see it as low. And the spread has only gone up in favor of Houston, -9.5 open. Looks like it's all the way up to -12 on a couple books now. So I do kind of agree with that. I think even though Utah has been good at home, they've played against some relatively cupcake defenses. If Houston comes in and locks in, they should win this game by 15 to 20 points, in my opinion, especially with KD being back. I don't think he's going to be rusty at all. Utah is coming off a win as well against Sacramento. 7 of their last 8 games have actually gone over the total. I don't really want to trust the Utah Jazz to play under in this game. I think the Rockets should be able to score. The team total is 123.5. I thought that was a little too rich for my blood. I considered a first half team total. I think it's 60.5. I think they should be able to get to that number. We know Houston's offense is not always great, but against the Jazz, I think they should be able to score. Houston's also 8-1 against the spread in their 9 road games so far this season. They've covered 7 of their last 10 games overall as well. Utah is 8-2 against the spread at home, though. So I don't know. Because it's first leg of back-to-back, I don't really feel too inclined to, want to run to the window and bet the Rockets in this spot. What I did bet, though, was Jabari Smith Jr. I actually bet Jabari Smith. Jaxon likes Min Thompson. I bet Jabari Smith Jr. over his rebounds. So I'm going to pull this up real quick using Outlier, show you guys how I kind of handicapped it as far as Jabari Smith Jr. goes for today. So as always, link is in the description if you guys are interested in checking Outlier out. But you can see Jabari Smith Jr. rebounds, 6.5. You see is the number. He's kind of crushing this line. Over in 4 of his last 5 games, you can see he's averaging closer to 8 rebounds. This Utah team is not necessarily the worst rebounding team. You can see that they are 11th in rebounding, which in my opinion, hopefully that makes Jabari go even harder in this game. If we look at the full season, we can see he's averaging right at 6.7. If we look at the games with Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant is back. Let's see. With Kevin Durant, for whatever reason, he's been rebounding the basketball a lot better. You can see the rebounds here, 8, 9, 8, 10, 9, and 11. He did go under in this game against Portland, but that's because they smoked Portland by 34 points. About 24 points, I'm sorry, in that one. So I like Jabari Smith Jr. over his boards. I just feel like he's been crashing the glass a lot lately, and I think he can continue to do so in this game. So that was the first player prop that I ended up playing for today. I also considered, it's a lot of things to consider when you're talking about this Jazz defense. I considered Isaiah Collier over his 6.5 points. Let's see. I didn't bet this one, though, but I did consider him over his points. So 6.5 is the number on most books. I think it is up to 7.5 on a couple books. So we look at the full season. You can see that he's over this number in 70% of his games, 7 of the last 10. If Keontae George doesn't play, he should, get a few more minutes. And I think, he has a pretty good matchup as far as being able to get out and run the transition. He gets, I think it was 27% of his points via the transition bucket. And for whatever reason, if there's a place that the Houston Rockets defense has not been great, it's giving up points in transition. So, he gets 36% of his points. So more than a third of Keontae George's points comes from transition. So I consider this as well, especially with the Rockets being 24th in points allowed. And I think it's a pretty good matchup for Isaiah Collier in this spot here. So that's something I consider super low number. I think it's a little bit of value on that line for Isaiah Collier, but I would love for Keontae George to be ruled out before I played that. So those are my thoughts. Let's see. Let's go through the comments very, very quickly. What up, dude? Appreciate you for tapping in. 77 figures is a great morning. Let's eat today. Suns was buns last night. We need to get that back today. I should have just faded. Should have just faded the Suns. I know everybody loved the Suns yesterday. I said, fifth game in 7 nights, you typically see something different. I just didn't think the defense would be that bad because I like the under, and they just couldn't stop Denver. Denver still ended up with 130 points, even without 2 of their starters in the game last night. Hornets look solid. Yeah, they did. What up, B-Hop? He says, these teams playing again tomorrow. I'll catch this one and see if there's a play on tomorrow's game. I can definitely agree with that. I kind of feel like the same. That's why I'm not betting the side of the total. All right, next one I wanted to talk about was the Raptors and the Knicks. The line has opened up at 6. It's up to 7.5 now. Total open 231.5. It looks like it's moved up to 232.5, depending on where you're shopping. Of course, Toronto can submit their injury report late. They were in Charlotte last night and without RJ Barrett, so we'll see if he plays. I also kind of think potentially Jakob Poeltl. I'm not sure if Jakob Poeltl made 100% recovery from the back issues that he had, but he did play I think close to 40 minutes last night, at least 37, 38 minutes last night. So now you got Toronto playing on the second leg of back-to-back. It's not necessarily the worst travel because from New York to Charlotte is a pretty quick flight. But they also had, a couple of days off of rest before they played Charlotte. So they had 2 days off, I think it was, before they played Charlotte last night. And this is a team that was super hot. They won 9 games in a row. One thing I looked at for the Raptors, though, is that they had played the easiest strength of schedule in the league over the last 5 games and the third easiest strength of schedule over the full season. So that was something that kind of gave me a little bit of hesitation because I looked into this game before it started yesterday. If we look at Toronto's schedule, they just played Charlotte, lost that game, even though they had a double digit. I think they was up by as many as 14 points in that game. It could have been a look ahead spot to this spot. It was one of the reasons why I didn't want to necessarily lay the points for with them against Charlotte yesterday. But before that, they played against the Indiana Pacers, beat them by 2, so barely won that game. Cleveland, they did beat Cleveland. Cleveland was shorthanded in that one. Brooklyn, Washington, Philly, Charlotte, Indiana, Brooklyn again. Like, this has been a very easy schedule for the Toronto Raptors side of things. And I highly consider, wanting to take Toronto in this spot. I ultimately laid the 6.5 yesterday with the New York Knicks. That line is gone, but as soon as overtime, started, I sent out to the members that I was going to be taking the Knicks in this spot. Knicks will be without OG Anunoby, of course, but I mean, the Knicks have been just so good at the crib, man. They did have to fight, a little harder to win that game against the Bucks, just because they kind of played around with their food. They allowed the Bucks to shoot, I think it was close to 50% from the 3-point line in the first half. But now you get them, and that was their first game back home. Now a second straight game back home. This team is 9-1 against the spread at the crib. They win by an average of 12 points per game. And they dominated this Raptors team. They won 8 straight. They've covered 7 of the 8. I think, when I went to – actually, I'll show you guys what I looked at. I'll go over to Moneyballer real quick. When I was looking into this game, the first thing that jumped out to me, and it looks a little different on my notes versus these notes here, on Moneyballer, but check this website out. It's a really, really dope website if you guys have not already. If we go down here and we just look at, the way that the Raptors like to score the basketball, I just want to compare it with my notes as well. So Toronto is a team, not even Toronto. We talk about the Knicks first defensively. Like I'm interested to know how the Raptors are going to score in this game. Toronto's a team that likes to attack the rim, and they like to shoot a lot of mid-range shot. That's Scotty Barnes, of course. That's Brandon Ingram, of course. The team is 8th in mid-range frequency, 8th in mid-range accuracy, and then long mid-range, they're top 10 in both frequency and accuracy as well. They get to the rim, 9th in rim frequency, 14th in accuracy. So they get a lot of their points in the at the rim in general. And that's where the Knicks defense is good. When you got a chance to play good against the Knicks, in my opinion, and win, it's because you got to get hot from the 3-point line. The Raptors, you can see right here, they're above the break 3-point attempts. They don't shoot a lot. They're 26th in attempts. And look at the Knicks. This is where they bleed out. You see this red right here is not good, right? It means that they struggle in these in these defensive categories. So corner 3 field goals allowed. You can see that they give up the second most corner 3s. Above the break 3 attempts allowed, they give up the 5th most. And they struggle guarding the 3-point shot. So I do think that, the Raptors, they're not a great 3-point shooting team on the full season. They're 24th in corner 3 frequency. So they don't shoot a lot there. Above the break 3s, they don't shoot a lot there, bottom 5. And then overall 3-point frequency, this is not a team that, scores a lot, from the 3-point line. I think that's how you beat the Knicks. So I initially I thought about it. I said, man, the way that the NBA has been, been kind of projecting and I think that the Raptors can cover. I mean, it's a big number to, the Raptors have been really, really good, but I'm going to ride with the Knicks. I thought about cashing out. I said, no, I'm not cashing out. I'm riding with the Knicks. So I'm on the Knicks in this spot. If we flip it and we look at, where the Knicks like to score the basketball, for me, it's always easier when I'm looking at this to go on the opposite side of it. The Knicks at the crib, just overall, they're really, really good offensive team. Third in offensive rating. Toronto could be a little short-handed. We'll see if Jakob Poeltl plays. They haven't submitted their injury report yet. Toronto is second best in defensive rating. We'll see if the Knicks can be able to generate some offense. I think that they will be able to. I think they win this game pretty comfortably. Send a little message to the Raptors because the Raptors are good right now. Raptors are really good. Raptors actually, I think, got a better record than the Knicks do. Let's see real quick. Straight up, 14-6. You can see right here, and 12-6. So Knicks land such a big number, even though they don't have a better record overall. We'll see what happens. I know a lot of people gonna like the Raptors today. I'm gonna stick with my Knicks pick. I got a -6.5 yesterday, so that's my thought process on this game. From a player prop perspective, I didn't really look too much into it, but we'll see what happens with the injury report. I consider Josh Hart over his rebounds and assists. I think he had like 15 to 16 in that last game. I think he could, continue to play make and be as efficient and effective in this game, especially without OG and Anunoby. And I feel like Josh Hart's been absolutely cooking. So that's something that was on my short list. I didn't bet it though. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Go through this real quick. Dude says he loves the Rockets. Jabari Smith-Jr. over his points and going over his points. Pat says I had T-Wolves -5.5 yesterday. Sam Hauser hit a meaningless 3 at the buzzer, cut it to 4. Insane Bebby. Yeah, that happens to me. Feels like all the time, man. Dude says Knicks and Brunson over points. Let's get it at 28.5. But he can get there. Yeah, I think he can get there too. Chris says he had a solid 7-1 college football day, 3-1 NBA. Brandon Ingram on the do not bet list. Yeah, the Raptors, if you watched the game last night, I watched the game against Charlotte. They literally couldn't score the basketball in the fourth quarter. Like, it's crazy because, like, that's not what you expect, right? You expect the longer the game go on, Charlotte playing on the second leg of a back-to-back, the Raptors would, continue to be able to score the basketball. I mean, they literally could not score the basketball last night. And the craziest thing, the cherry on top, was that the Hornets took LaMelo Ball out. Like, they took LaMelo out, which is even crazier. Raptors scored 17 points in the fourth quarter and 7 points in overtime. 24 points. They got outscored 38-24 in the fourth quarter and overtime combined. Lost the game by 8. Lost the game by 7, and they end up laying, I think, close to 10 last night. So we'll see. B-House says I'll live bet the Knicks if I don't lay the 7.5. Dude says they at the Garden covering. Let's get it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see. Deuces West's win rate. I'll share that. Can not do. Who is this? Kelvin. I share my win rate occasionally. But play what you like. If you don't like what I'm saying, go check out another channel. All right, let's go to the next game. So we got next one I want to talk about Celtics and the Cavs. So line in this one yesterday was at. Was it 7 or 6.5? I think it was 7.5. It's coming down now to 7. It was up to 8.5. That's what I wrote down in my notes. So Celtics, taking some money in this spot, and I would be on that. I would be on that same wavelength. I can't lay points with Cleveland right now. I look at the injury report. Of course, Boston can submit late because they ran out of. They played yesterday in Minnesota, so second leg of a back-to-back for them. But they were well rested before that game. And then on the Cleveland side of things, not only are they not playing well right now, but Sam Merrill continues to be out. Jared Allen's listed as out for this game, in my opinion. And then you got Cleveland. Cleveland's in a really good spot, but I really don't trust them without Jared Allen and Sam Merrill. I think they need to be whole. They have the rest advantage. They also lost to the Celtics earlier this season by double digits, so they got double-digit in-season revenge. Also coming off the loss as a favorite to the Atlanta Hawks the other day where they just couldn't stop Atlanta. Atlanta scored 130 points, 30-point quarter every single game. And it's the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Indiana Pacers coming into town tomorrow. The Cavs are 2-5 against the numbers so far this season, coming off a loss this season. So they haven't even been great in the bounce-back spot. They failed to cover 3 in a row when they've been coming off a loss. They also just 3-8 against the spread this season, where 3-8 against the spread this season when they're at home. And I feel like last season, that's where they played their best basketball. So Cleveland clearly, I keep saying this, but they clearly don't care too much about these games early in the season. And would they want to win? Yes. They look over it. They probably hate Boston, especially, losing against Boston already earlier this season. I think I was on Cleveland in that game, and Boston absolutely blasted them. So we'll see what happens. But I can't lay with the Cavs right now. What else did I have in my notes? They're just their points in general. They really struggle to score the basketball. 8 of the 11 home games so far, they stay under their team total. So if you bet the Cavs team total under at home, you've made a lot of money so far this season. It's 121.5. I considered that. Celtics have only played 3 games where they've been unrested. They've held their opponent under their team total in 2 of those games. We know that we're going to continue to get inflated lines with the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. So we shall see. That's what I considered. What I ended up playing, though, I want to go back to Moneyballer really quickly. I'm not Moneyballer. I'm sorry. Go back to Outlier really quickly. I ended up going back to Old Faithful, Mr. Derek White. I played him over his 2.5 threes in this spot. So, I mean, of course, he gets like one of the greatest matchups that you could find. His last 5 games, he hasn't been shooting it well. Full season, he's over in 58% of the games. You can see 11 to 19 games as well. Days of rest. So if he's on the back-to-back, he's only over. This will be their 4th back-to-back. He's only went over 1 time. Houston's a pretty good defensive team. The Pelicans not sure what happened there. This was early in the season. I think it was the first back-to-back all season. And then against Memphis, he hit 3 threes. But I mean, it's a matchup that you really can't ignore it, man. If you just pay attention to Cleveland, we know that they give up a ton of threes. Zachary Reese-Shea, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Onyeka Okongwu, like they just Jalen Johnson, like they were just knocking down threes the other day, and I don't see any reason to fade Derek White in this spot. He's over in 5 of his 7 games so far this season where he's played at least 30 minutes. So he's averaging I think at 33 minutes per game. So if we put him at 30 minutes, you can see that this number comes up to 63%. And this is against teams that are bottom of the league in spot up defense. The Cleveland Cavaliers are actually 27th in defending the spot up shot in general. And if you just go back to the last game, you've been paying attention to it. It is not even this season. It's for a while. They just give it up. So I think Derek White will hit 3 threes, even though he is playing on the second leg of a back-to-back. The defense will allow him to continue to shoot, take, and make threes, in my opinion. We just need him to jack him up. I think he'll get them up. And I think if he shoots them, they'll fall in. So Derek White over his 2.5 threes is something that I did bet in this game, especially coming off a game where he shot, I think, just 2 for 8 from the 3-point line last night. So that is one that I played. Let's see. Anybody Cavs today? Man, it's not for me. Not for me, man. I'm not gonna bet too many spreads in the on Sundays in general though. It's kind of janky. NBA is kind of janky right now. What's up, Mark? Appreciate you for joining as a member again. That's a fact. 77 Vegas says he'll go Boston plus the 7. They hang around here. JB Ballin, by the way, this is showing he is a number 1 option. That's a fact. He's been hooping. Gave Anthony Edwards everything that they wanted last night for sure. Deuce says he loves Boston. Yeah, I would be on the same side as you guys. I don't know if I'm probably not gonna bet it, but I think that's the right side. Definitely having points in the pocket today. The Celtics. You just want to wait though. You want to wait and make sure nobody gets ruled out for Boston with them being on the second leg for back-to-back. That's my personal opinion. This game starts at 6:10. So take with that information, do what you want. Let's go to the next one. Atlanta and Philly here. Atlanta open. I think this opened with Philly laying 1. It went up to 1.5. Looks like it's coming back down from 1.5. I do still see some 1.5s. Total has come down as well from 232.5 down to 230, which is interesting. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. So we start with the injury report. Kristaps Porzingis is already ruled out. I want to say him and Trae Young are the only people on the Atlanta side. Yeah, the only people that are rotational players on the Atlanta side, Trae Young and Porzingis, and they didn't play in the last game against Cleveland either. In Philly, laundry list of injury players. So of course, no Kelly Oubre, Joel Embiid is ruled out. VJ Edgecombe is upgraded to questionable, and then Drummond is listed as questionable, and Trenton Watford is out. I saw the Drummond injury. I don't think that he's going to play. Like he was having trouble putting pressure on his knee when it got ran into. I kind of think the Drummond's going to be ruled out for this game. That's my thought process. So as far as Atlanta goes, this is the first leg of a back-to-back. They got a game against Detroit tomorrow. And then on the Philly side of things, this starts a 3-game homestand for them. They got the Wizards and the Warriors up next. They're coming off the bounce back win after getting smoked by Orlando. They did bounce back and beat the Brooklyn Nets, but everybody's beating Brooklyn in their last game. So this is a game where I think Atlanta can win the game. I do think that Atlanta's so Jekyll and Hyde, right? You think about, being a double-digit favorite in DC against probably the worst team in basketball right now, the Washington Wizards, and losing that game outright. And then you come back home and you are getting 7 points against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you absolutely smoke the doors off Cleveland. And I wouldn't say smoke the doors off Cleveland, but you beat Cleveland pretty comfortably with those late threes by Zachary Risacher and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So I'm not in a position where Atlanta can win this game. I think that they do have the talent to win the game. I think they're a better team as well, based on currently constructed lineup, especially if VJ Edgecombe comes back. He could potentially throw off the rotation a little bit. I don't think Philly has anybody to protect the rim at all. So I say all that to say what I ended up betting was Jalen Johnson over his 32.5 points and assists in this game. I'm not going to bring this one up on the screen, but Jalen Johnson's over in 4 of his 5 games so far this season when he's played without Trae Young and Porzingis. I just think the offense is going to continue to run the offense through him. The only one he didn't cover as far as the over on the points and assists was a game that he played against Phoenix, and he got hooked. He finished right at 32. He had 17 potential assists in that game, but only converted 7 of them. I think when I look at Philly's defense, to me, it's not scary at all. I don't trust them defensively against good offenses. Philly allows the 4th most points in transition. Jalen Johnson gets a 1/3 of his points via transition. He should be able to live at the rim, attack the paint, especially if Drummond does not play. But even if Drummond does play, Drummond don't scare me as a rim protector. So Drummond's just a good rebounder. So I think I stayed off the rebounds, but I did play Jalen Johnson over his 32.5 points and assists in this game. That's one that I did lock in. I think Atlanta's allowed to win the game as well. It's my thought process. Let's see. Anybody got thoughts here? Comes these like Jazz plus 12.5, Knicks minus 7.5, Cleveland minus 7.5. Okay. Mark says, good morning, Chris. Been listening and updating memberships. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate that for sure. All right. So nobody got thoughts on this one. Let's go to the next. Pelicans and Lakers. I low-key just kind of added this. Dude says Jalen Johnson stay coming through. Yeah, he had that bad game against Washington where he kind of wet the bed, but he's been good since then. So Pelicans and Lakers, right? Lakers playing second. This is the last game on the board for tonight. First thing we got to ask ourselves is, and I think why the spread has gotten so, it was already 14. Now it's up to 15.5. And in my opinion, the reason that's happening is because Zion probably not going to play on the second leg of a back-to-back. We know he typically does not. He hasn't been officially ruled out yet. Trey Murphy is listed as questionable in this game. Pelicans, of course, playing second leg of back-to-back. The Lakers also have and Trey Murphy didn't play in that game last night. I think that's important to mention as well against the Warriors. So short travel. Lakers have LeBron listed as questionable. I think LeBron – I've been trying to think about so what I'm trying to say is I saw something last week that said, like LeBron can only miss a certain amount of games in order to be eligible for awards for this year because he missed so many games to start the season. To me, it kind of makes me think that LeBron's going to play. Now, it is the first leg of a back-to-back. Lakers got a much bigger game tomorrow against the Phoenix Suns. They could win this game without LeBron, of course. They got a game where Phoenix actually comes into town tomorrow, and this is their 3rd straight home game. Tomorrow will be their 4th straight home game. So the way I kind of think about it is we got to wait for Trey Murphy. We also got to wait to see if Zion's actually going to play on the second leg of a back-to-back. And if those guys play or don't play, and maybe you get a better number if LeBron's ruled out because it's injury management for this game. Like, to me, that just means that they're probably going to rest them in the first leg of a back-to-back and then play them tomorrow versus the Phoenix Suns, which is a much more meaningful game. So if that's the case, Bron doesn't play. I mean, you automatically, in my opinion, got to start looking at Austin Reeves props. The Pelicans, look like they were great defensively because the Warriors offense stinks so bad without Steph Curry. But we talked about this Lakers team, at home on Friday when they were able to, secure another win, go up and over their team total again. I mentioned it the other day, Lakers 14-4 against the number. I don't think that they play much defense in this game. One thing I'm trying to really pay attention to is teams playing on first leg of a back-to-back with a more meaningful game the night before. They should be able to score the basketball though. So look towards their team total up and over. I know the Pelicans offense is not great, but if they get everybody in, I think they should be able to score the basketball a little bit better than they were last night. Like, I'm still a little shaky on the Lakers defensively. You guys know I'm a diehard Laker fan. I still a little shaky on the defense though. So if everybody plays for the Pelicans, I could see them potentially, being able to score the basketball in this game. Maybe the game goes over, but the Lakers, I think they should be able to pretty much kind of name their number. Their team total is going to be super high for today. It's 119.5. Well, no, it's not. My fault. It's 124.5. And the Pelicans are 108.5. You can get some 109 for the Pelicans as well. The way the offense has been playing, I don't know if the Lakers need to score this many points, but I think that they can score this many points if you guys get my drift. So that's what I wrote in my notes yesterday. Gotta wait on the injury report though. Let's see. Atlanta on a different level than the 76ers. Wish it wasn't Sunday. It's a fact, right? It's a fact. Okay, see. Okay, watch this. Brian says Lakers first quarter, first half team totals. Full game team total. 15 is a lot, though. It is. Brian says Luka over his assists. Austin Reeves over his points. I can see that. Says Lakers don't seem to get stops until the last 12 minutes of a basketball game lately. They got to work on that over 233.5. Yeah, we'll see. The Pelicans, 108.5. If everybody plays, the Pelicans should be able to get to 109. I don't think the Lakers will be super locked in and focused on this one. And that's it. That's it. I still been on here a lot longer than I thought I would be. As far as the other games, I'll run through them real quickly. I know I didn't touch on OKC and Portland. So Portland, OKC didn't cover against Phoenix in their last game. They are, let's see, what did I write in my notes? OKC is nothing. Like I think they play Golden State in their next game, but they got tomorrow off. So they'll be off on Monday. I think they play Golden State on Tuesday in Golden State. As much as I would like to fade OKC on the road, because I feel like they have been a fade on the road and the number is coming down. The Portland Trailblazers have double-digit in-season revenge. Both of these teams are 1-1 against each other so far. They're coming off that loss as a favorite against the San Antonio Spurs, so they're well rested in that spot as well. And the line is coming down. As much as I want to fade the fade the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road, when I look at the matchup, Portland is a team that's really struggled to take care of the basketball. You can't be giving out free points to this Golden State team. To this Oklahoma City Thunder team. I would really like for Drew Holiday to be in if I wanted Portland. I can't quite get there with Portland. I understand if you can though, but I can't quite get there with Portland. I know that Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be out for the next 2 weeks. I think it was 10 to 14 days or something like that. But yeah, I think the OKC is like the perfect matchup for Portland because Portland loves to get out and run in transition. OKC doesn't give up a lot of transition points. Portland also turns the ball over a lot. OKC thrives in points off turnovers. So it's a difficult matchup in my opinion. And I've seen OKC absolutely stifle teams. Even on the road on a Sunday. So I'm going to stay off of that game. As much as I do want to take the points for Portland, I'm going to stay off of that one. Maybe the game goes over the total. Maybe OKC isn't locked in defensively. I think OKC will be able to score the basketball. Portland has not really looked great defensively, as we saw in the game against the Spurs as well. So that's my thought process on that game. The next one is San Antonio, Minnesota. I didn't really look too deeply into this one. San Antonio has won, I think, 4 to 5 games without Wemby, coming off a nice win against the Denver Nuggets. So they have the rest advantage in this game as well. Minnesota playing second leg of back-to-back. They had to fight tooth and nail. The spread was at 4.5 yesterday. It's down to 3. It's a lot of money coming in on San Antonio. Total going up from 233 up to 234.5. The Spurs as well. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with the total going up. This is a spot where, in my opinion, I'm probably just betting on Anthony Edwards. Like to go out there and have another big game like he did yesterday. I don't really trust a lot of the other players on the Minnesota Timberwolves, although this is a pretty good team collectively. Minnesota they still haven't been covering numbers. Eventually they're going to cover one, but they didn't cover that one last night. So I think that's 4 straight spreads they failed to cover. Second leg of back-to-back, Spurs got the rest advantage. I don't really know what to do with the game. Not going to give you guys too much on this one. I know that the Spurs will still be without Stephen Castle and Wemby, though. And De'Aaron Fox don't necessarily have the greatest matchups in this one. Probably get the Jaden McDaniels treatment if the way I'm thinking Coach French is probably going to want to play it. So San Antonio's not knocking down all those threes like they did in the last game. Minnesota is typically a pretty good three-point defense. Maybe this game stays under the total, but not anything that I want to be involved in. And then Memphis and Sacramento, definitely not a game that I'm touching. I don't want Memphis on the road laying points. Sacramento's been absolutely atrocious coming off the loss to the Utah Jazz. Dennis Schroeder's also listed as questionable. Memphis has been playing a little bit better recently. I guess I would just by default take the Memphis Grizzlies, probably just on the money line. You probably can get like a -140, -145. I did with them laying 2.5. That's the way I kind of think about the game. Sacramento's offense looks pretty bad on most nights. So maybe, Memphis, we did see them slow down the Clippers. Sacramento, just not a team that I'm ever going to trust, even at home, on the road, as a dog, as a favorite. I just don't like what I'm seeing from Sacramento right now. So Memphis would probably just be by default. And that's the way I kind of think about that game. Didn't really look into player props at all. P passes, I would go right back to Minnesota here, although their last game backdoor cover hurt. I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. And that's it. So as far as what I bet, I did make 4 bets today. Jabari Smith Jr. over his rebound, 7.5. Derek White over his 2.5 threes. New York -6.5. And Jalen Johnson over his 32.5 points plus assists. As always, the links for everything that I use to handicap are listed in the description of the video. So check them out if you guys are interested. And that'll be it, man. We'll be back tomorrow. Best of luck on your action for this Sunday. And I'll catch you guys then.